Okay, I'd like to call to order this edition of the January 8th edition of the Jericho Selectboard meeting. Welcome, everybody. In order to make our meetings more efficient, we're limiting public comment to the beginning of the meeting, the public to be heard section. Select board meetings are in the public, not of the public. However, there will occasionally be agenda items where we will ask for public comment. Tonight, we'll look for public comment on the parking ordinance proposal and the TMRI updates. If you're on Zoom, please don't use the chat for anything other than technical issues. It can be very distracting. But if you can't get off mute, you can't raise your hand or something of that nature, feel free to use it for that. Another update I need to do is I need to make an update to the agenda.
Yep.
We are not appointing Phil Newbeck this evening, which is, I think, your second thing. I already did it from mine.
Yep.
So with that, is there any public to be heard for anything you'd like, other than I'd ask you on the parking ordinance or the TMRI updates to wait for us to get to those in the agenda? Any public to be heard about anything but those two items?
Do you want me to present the parking ordinance, the proposed parking ordinance? Leslie asked me to present it for her.
When we get to that,
Okay.
yeah. I think that's the first thing on the agenda. So this is public to be heard. That just comes before that. Nobody?
Oh, give me a second.
Oh boy, here we go. All right, Jim.
Give me 3 minutes. I'm not even gonna take that. Some of you may have seen that our project of 6 housing units was denied with their necessary amendment by the Development Review Board. So we believe in the town's best interest to obtain an independent assessment to determine whether the DRB's decision can withstand appeal and whether mediation or settlement presents a more cost-effective and expedient path forward, especially given the town's ongoing efforts to promote necessary housing development. So unfortunately, 2 printers quit, so I don't have 5 copies for you. So one to the chair.
I'll take it. Thank you.
And we'll look forward to discussing it with you. This will end up with the select board because the select board becomes the DRB in the court to negotiate an environmental court. So hopefully we can avoid a protracted, very expensive legal debate. And that's our proposal. And the governor just put out an executive order supporting that our process of approving housing is possibly one of the most significant economic adverse constructs in the state. And so we have 6 housing units ready to be occupied in a very short period of time. And unfortunately, we couldn't even finish our presentation at the DRB.
And your proposal is laid out in that letter?
There's no complaints. This is all about moving forward.
Okay.
That's in the rear view.
But your information we need to get is in that letter.
It is.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thanks.
That's the way to give an update, Jim. Look at that. I'm so proud of you. Thank you. Minute
Not
24.
even a minute and a half,
One of
Jim.
my objectives is to be very brief by
Succinct.
the time I'm
Succinct.
8.
Love it. Thanks, Jim. Okay, sorry, was there any other public to be heard? Next on the agenda is discussion, review, and consider approval of the no parking ordinance on Old Pump Road. Go ahead.
You want me to do this?
Whatever you're more comfortable with. The
Yeah,
mic picks you up
sure.
pretty good back there, but if you want to come up, that's
Yeah,
fine.
sure. Okay, so I'm presenting this for Leslie, who's out of town. Leslie was the person who drafted it and did all the research for it. So this parking ordinance is a response to the safety hazard on Old Pump Road, which is caused by vehicles parking along the road, pedestrians, vehicles backing out into traffic, pedestrians walking in the road. I believe you were sent a video. Did you see the video? And that video is an average day. That's an average weekend day. That wasn't a special day. So our feeling, I think all of us who live on the road have felt that every time we drive down that road and somebody backs out in front of us or a pedestrian crosses suddenly in front of us, that the roulette wheel is spinning and are the numbers going to come up at some point? And I know I don't want to be the person who hits that pedestrian. And I believe all of us on Old Pump Road have had near misses where people have jumped out in front of us. So it's just an incredibly unsafe condition. And so this ordinance provides to make it safer. It would be resident parking only. There would be parking passes for guests allowed for each resident. And then we would ask that there be a couple of signs posted at the end of Old Pump Road near Route 15 that alert people who come down Route 15 that it is resident parking only. There's also attached to this a copy of the Jericho winter parking ordinance, just to remind everybody that Jericho does enact parking ordinances. So
Yes. What you're looking at, what you gave us, Paula, or is that a?
Yeah.
The recent updated one.
You
Yep,
have
I saved,
updated one?
yep. Mhm.
I tried to get some, I'm gonna pass this one out because.
There, she has copies if you
Yeah,
want.
my
a
photo
copy.
came out really far. So this just, all I did is to supplement the video, I just took some photos from a video, screenshots of a video.
Oh, yeah, we had that.
Yeah, and that just shows one of the other dangers is that people do the 3-point turns in the middle of the road. This car happened to do a 3-point turn right over the crest of the hill. So, so anybody who was coming south on Old Pump Road, who went across the bridge and up the hill, would have not seen that car until they got over the hill and they would have T-boned it. I happened to be around to video that, but the 3-point turns happen all the time because people park on the side of the road. We now are called Coneville because we put cones at the end of our driveway because we're tired of people pulling into our driveway. I have watched many people drive over other people's lawns. And my very favorite memory is of, there were like 3 high school girls who parked their car, took out their lawn chair, parked their lawn chairs in the road and were eating their ice cream cones, totally oblivious to the fact that this was a public road. So it's a very unsafe situation. I don't want to be the person who hits that toddler who runs out in the middle of the road or that young person who gets out of the passenger. This happened to me. Somebody got out of the passenger. There was a truck that stopped, double parked in front of the post office. So I was behind them. I crept around them very slowly. My son-in-law has told me I will never get a speeding ticket. And as I was doing it, the passenger jumped out and ran in front of me because they wanted to get into the line at the premium. I think there's generally the understand. I think people perceive that end of the street on Old Pump Road is really the Palmer parking lot, not a public road. So this would address it. 2 signs would address it, and there is precedent for Jericho enacting zoning regs. So thank you very much. It's public safety. I know the select board has asked us to come up with solutions. This seems to us to be the best solution. And it's an inconvenience to us too. I just assume not to have my guests get a parking pass. A little bit, I feel a little mixed about it because the situation has put us in the position of having to, I mean, it's really inconvenient for us too, but it would be safe. Thank you.
Thank you. How about we open up to public comment first? Does that work for the board? Other public comment?
Staff in here?
Yep,
Mhm.
she's on loan.
Eileen Hunt, Old Pump Road. I just want to, I support this ordinance for the situation that it is right now. I kind of feel like it shouldn't have come to this, because we've been, residents of Old Pump Road have been bringing the attention of the situation, I think for 10 years now. I was probably one of the quiet ones until recently, but, I've been here before, but our residents is the one that's been impacted the most, the longest. And it really has been just disruptive and there really shouldn't, I'm in favor of just having it be resident parking only. But I just feel like that should have happened naturally with the process, in my opinion, the way it should have worked so that we wouldn't have to have this. And I just want to, reinforce what Beth said about the 3-point turns and all that. In a email that I sent you during the summer, I just did a little survey myself of just sitting in the porch and watching and keeping track. And in a 4.5 hour period, there were 50 vehicles that were from, let's see, it would be 1, 2, 3. Well, I guess it would be across, 5 or 6 residences of, the other side of the road. And all of them have to turn around, of course, to leave, and they either did 3-point turns in front of wherever they were, or they would turn into driveways if they could, or they might have gone down the road over the bridge and back. So it really impacts it, all the way, quite a ways down. Just trying to think of anything else at this point. I don't really think the solutions that have been raised so far are gonna help, even with the parking lot across the street. Of course, that will get it off the road. But it's still gonna be not great for us. We have to look at a parking lot. It still doesn't take care of all the traffic that's generated that have to come into the road. Even if they go straight to the parking lot, there's still gonna be bottlenecks and all that. And so I'm just still concerned about, just the solutions that have been brought up so far. But at least this one I support, since it'll get off, at least they get cars off the road, so. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
All right.
Other public comment on this issue? You don't have to come up if you don't want, whatever works. I think we can hear you back there.
This one, I mean, I support this.
Can you just state your name, please?
Oh, sorry, Andrew Albright.
Thank you.
I support this. As I'm reading it though, under Roman numeral 4, paragraph D. It gets a little complicated there about where the parking is.
I had the same when I read it.
And I was wondering if it's just easier to simplify it and say just between Route 15 and the Browns River Bridge. Just blanket, I think that there is some parking on the premises of the ice cream shop. And that's fine, that is what it is, but it's the parking on the road, and I think if we can do something to kind of control that, that's the objective here, so I don't want to make this too complicated, just, I guess, the point.
I had something I forgot to say. It'll be the first thing I meant to say. The one thing I wouldn't want to see is signs up and down the road saying no parking. I hope that, like that said, that there could be a couple of signs, before, there's a telephone pole there, which is a good kind of a boundary line between like the business and the rest of the road. And I really don't want to see signs up littered, up and down the road. So it's just something that I'd like to see, not see.
I think the proposed ordinance addressed it. It said signs as close as possible to the intersection of Old Pump Road and Route 15, so that people would be notified when they turned onto the road that there was no parking. And then parking only in front of people's houses if they wanted it. And there may be people who want it there, maybe people who are offended enough by all the traffic that they want it there, but only with their permission. Also, I noted the winter parking ban has no signs.
I could just offer a quick comment since I'm in that mood, right?
Here we go.
I was sort of hoping tonight, because one of my worst nightmares would be to own a business that was successful and that it wouldn't fit into the neighborhood that it existed in. And that we as a community, seeing that happen while enjoying an ice cream, couldn't come up with some good methodologies to solve a problem. We have an economic development corporation with members, and we have a whole bunch of really smart people in town. So we've got some people suffering, other people suffering, and we have a town that wants to encourage economic with life quality. And guess who owns the property across the street? United States Post Office. The last time I checked on my passport, I was a US citizen. And I think the dirt is owned by Von Turkovich. So if in fact the Economic Development Corporation, the post office, and Von Turkovich, and everybody else decided we've got a very successful business here, what would be a good plan? And I suspect in a 2-hour meeting, a planner, an architect, with cooperation, they could all say, huh, we could redo this traffic pattern, matching things up to not burden the residents while at the same time solving the problem for the business without curtailing the business's success. And all it would take is Von Turkovich, the United States Post Office, Palmerston Town, all say, let's try to solve this problem in an equitable, fair way. And I think it would be really good for everybody. It might be a good thing to do for us in the town to get everybody together before we end up with problems, because it's pretty sad when your business is so successful and so many people want to come that it creates a burden. So
Thanks, Ken. The minutes, look good. Yeah.
I just hope on that committee, the residents will be included as well. It's,
At least I'm not the chair of that committee, huh?
we could have some good input.
Sorry, I shouldn't.
I didn't hear it.
Paula, in our packet, you walked us through the steps that would be required, just so other people can hear it. Would you be willing to just kind of walk through?
Sure.
I assume you got those from,
Yeah,
someone who knows
so
more.
a draft copy of the ordinance would have to be sent to our town attorney for review.
Yep.
I'm not sure if there should be a traffic study done. I will look more into that. The select board will need to hold a public hearing. There needs to be placed in a publication like 7 days, posted 5 locations around the town, including the clerk's office. And after, if it,
So hold on, so
Yep.
that public hearing is required for any ordinance that the town passes? Oh, wow.
This doesn't count.
It needs to be formally adopted, and that's one way of doing it,
Mhm.
is with,
Yeah. And then there is a time frame for repeal. There's a 44-day time frame for repeal if people wanted to vote against it or if they didn't want this to happen. And then the final one is the town approves and adopts it. And we do have to follow the MUTC requirements, posting signage along the road, which is either side of the road.
What MUTC?
The municipal, it's a state,
unified
Right.
traffic.
yep,
It's a unified traffic rules.
yes.
Is that like?
Mhm.
I would point out that the TPD is advisory, it is not obligatory. So just because the MUTCD says you have to have sign, does not mean that you have to put up the sign, because it is not a law.
We can review that. Confirm
Yes, you
that.
can.
Dan, would you like to say anything?
I have a lot to say, but I don't think it's probably anything anybody wants to hear here, for sure.
I'd like to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, I just didn't really. Mr. Albright kind of hit it on the head. I think, it's probably pretty. Doesn't take a ton of brain power, I don't think, to realize that this is going to be a detriment either way you look at it to the business. So I'm kind of, I feel like I'm backed into a corner. Our family is backed into a corner, which, I completely understand all the concerns that have been brought forth, or the concerns in general, but then the length of time that they've been as such. The unfortunate side of that is I wasn't involved in that, and here I am. So bad timing on my part, I guess. And that's, again, not a secret, I don't think. So yeah, I'm really, it's, I said this, I think before, it's disheartening. It saddens me to know, to Mr. Albright's point as well, that, you know, a successful business that wants to bring a community space, a good product.
I think you mean Mr. Carroll, I think.
Oh, was it? I'm sorry.
Jim Carroll, who was talking
Okay.
about trying to find a balance.
So you can call me anything you want.
I thought that, I'm sorry, I apologize. Sorry for that. So thank you for clarifying that. So yeah, I think, but I also, again, at the end of the day, you know, it's really, it doesn't make me real warm and fuzzy to want to just power through and, you know, stay in Jericho as much as I'd love to. But again, being so new in this business, as you can imagine, the financial burden that is already in the, you know, in my sight, or if not already, actually, you know, with what could and would, maybe, there's just a lot of uncertainty. And that's not a big problem but ours, I suppose. And I would love to come up with a solution that is not financially burdensome on us, that works for everybody or most people. I thought the parking area would have attained, you know, like attain that goal. But I also understand the rationale for some doesn't, you know.
The parking lot, like the DRB.
To build, yeah, that was
Yeah.
approved, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, now I'm not gonna, you know, I would never argue with any neighbor, because if I were sitting there in their position, you know, I would probably have a different outlook on things. So yeah, so at the end of the day, you know, I'd love to be a part of a solution and a part of this community moving forward. And my family as well. And we really do enjoy it. We have, you know, kind of like drinking from a fire hose, at least for this part of the business being built up from our end. But it's great, you know, and there's been such a tremendous amount of positive feedback, response from people that do enjoy it. So that's good, you know. And there is there's something to be said for what it does in this community for as far as the business with Ivan, personally, and you know, the community in general. So yeah, I mean, I'm not here to, you know, throw stones at anybody, that's for sure. I just want to share that I am, you know, always open to talking. You know, it seems like it's been going on the same conversations for quite some time now. So I don't know, you know, I'm just kind of want to be present for these types of things and available. There's several other things that are not going on here with our business from the neighborhood too. So that's kind of also disheartening. And I won't go into detail with that, but yeah. Just
want to say, just because we have issues with the parking doesn't mean we have issues with the business. We love the business and we recommend it to people. You know, and I love having it there, honestly. I love the business there at the corner. If only people walked, you know, or if the parking could be somewhere else. You know, it's not personal to the owners or anything. It's really just what we have to experience. And that's what we're trying to, you know. So we hope there can be a solution to, or at least not on my part.
I don't know if I'm allowed to ask this, but I'll risk it. Is there anyone here that can give an update on what the latest is with the proposed parking lot?
I can.
Who was that?
Catherine?
Yeah, go-
Yeah, I got a notice from the environmental thing that it has to go to Act 250.
Can you, for those of us that don't know exactly what that means, can you help? What does that mean? Like a delay?
Probably a delay, because the Act 250, of course, it's kind of changed now. I don't know whether the LURB has to do with it or not, but there was a notice that because the Von Turkovich property is subject to Act 250 jurisdiction, that this parking lot will have to go to the Act 250. It could be minor, not even have hearing, but it has to be posted that it's there. So I don't know when it's scheduled to go to the court, because that's a big deal too, because the environmental court is often backed up.
Okay.
Update a little bit too. First of all, I did speak with Frank von Herkovich on the phone, and Frank was open to having an entrance to the field for a parking lot that came off between the house that used to be the nurse, I don't know if they're, and the post office. So there's already a crossing walk there with blinking lights for pedestrians. So he was amenable to having the entrance go down into the field through that
You mean off,
entrance
you mean off of Route 15?
off of Route 15, where there's already a curb cut to the post office. So the entrance would go down into the field off of Route 15. Pedestrians could then do a footpath up to the creamy stand, which would keep all of the traffic off of Old Pump Road. I'm not so sure we still wouldn't need some sort of a no standing, no parking, because there still are going to be people who want to drop their family off right in front so they don't have to walk. But there would be handicapped spots. I think there's handicapped spots right next to the building, but Frank is amenable to that. So he said they own enough land that the entranceway could go down off of the north side of Route 15 down into the field. And Frank owns it, he leases it to the post office.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I guess at this point, I'd like to close the public comment portion of this and open it up to the select board and hear what my select board peers have to say.
I have lots of opinions, but I have recused myself from this because I live on Pump Road,
Thanks, Laura.
so I won't be voting.
So I'll come out and say, I'm not keen to vote on this until after the parking lot issue is resolved. To me, that is a first and foremost, and then we can have this discussion. And then, I'm also not keen to have residential parking and parking permit passes, guest passes, because to me that creates the exact same issue. You just now have a select few people who can park on the road and do those 3-point turns. And I also have concerns about who is going to, we don't have that process right now for the town clerk to create parking passes. That's added work for our town clerk, and who has already stressed that she is overburdened. So I'm feeling apprehensive to do this tonight.
Thanks, Amy.
I'll say that at this point, I am generally supportive of some kind of a parking ban for that part of the road. I don't. I'm not sure the order of operations in terms of the parking lot, where that all settles off legally, and then how that does or doesn't work for the new owners. I don't love the idea of the parking of having people go across from the post office to get to the parking lot. Feels weird to me. I hate this topic with all my heart. And I guess I agree with Amy. I don't want to vote on anything tonight. And that's not, I guess it is a little bit, honestly, kicking the can down the road a little bit. But I do feel like we've got from now until May or whatever, break one, to sort of talk this through. But that's sort of where I'm at right now. I feel like we have to do something. So the road is just, it serves as a parking lot, and I think we need to do something. And I don't see what other than a parking ban. And I recognize what that does to the business.
There won't be a business.
We had talked about
That's for sure.
we had talked about putting a crosswalk down 15 right in front of Palmer's and working with the school to have parking over there. So that's where I'm at right now.
Thanks, Peter. Catherine?
I was not going to vote on this tonight anyway. I think I give kudos to Leslie for really doing the research and putting together things with the VLCT templates as well as other towns. But I think even the VLCT recommends that you have it looked at by your own council, no matter how well written it is. And that's the first thing we need to do, if anything. But the fact that it has to go to Act 250, I think we need to follow what's going on there. And that's important.
Catherine, what's the time like? Is this timeline of two activity? Is that like 2 months, 3 years? I just have no sense of how that process plays
It
out. I
could
know
be. It could be as easy as 3 months, particularly if they decide that it's not a major issue and they can just do minor, which means it just is kind of a very quick kind of process. I don't know how it happens now because they've changed from the normal Act 250 boards to this new land use review board, and that they're getting their feet under themselves. So I really don't know. Hopefully it's not too long in process, but the key is and of course it's unfortunate to the owner of the business that it has to go to Act 250 because that does delay a decision about and when you build the driveway and things like a driveway in the parking lot and everything, and how long is that going to take?
Is that going to Act 250 because the DRB decision was appealed?
No, the appeal is a totally different thing, but it also goes to environmental court. No, the Act 250 is a separate process, and that's because Von Turkovich's land is subject to Act 250.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so it's waiting on Act 250 and it's waiting on a separate legal case. Is that correct?
Yeah, basically.
Okay, Jim, real quick.
Yes, Act 250 is like having a piece of pine wood and you put stain on it. Once it's on the pine wood, it's almost impossible for Act 250 to ever go away. Act 250 in a controversial environment could be a very protracted process because it has 10 criteria that is very different than the Jericho Development Review Board, and it also invites a whole bunch of public activity. So it could be very easy, or it could be very, very hard.
Absolutely. I agree with you.
Having been in all of these different places, I go back to what I said. Everybody get together, because if there isn't a controversy and it's supported by the town plan and the town joins and supports this with the Economic Development Corporation, those are huge things at Act 250.
Thanks, Jim.
Eric,
Also at the show, yeah, yes, who said that?
what goes in, it would be useful to have the residential parking ban in place, because we know people are gonna drive down Old Pump Road and park their cars in the closest place, because we're all human beings. That's one thing. The other thing I'd like to clarify is that we spoke with Jessica Alexander prior to this process, who agreed that since there's only a handful of houses in Conesville between the Palmer's business and the bridge, that it really wouldn't be burdensome to have do the residential parking permits for that handful of houses and the handful of people. And so those are 2 points. The other thing, I think it's important to clarify the process for approving an ordinance, because there are 2 different routes to go. One is more complicated, which I think is the one Paula alluded to, and there's another one that is more straightforward to approving an ordinance. So I think, and either one of them requires getting looked at by the town attorney, but there are more other paths that are less complicated to approval. So I just wanted to point that out. But thank you.
Thank you. I haven't shared my thought yet. To that last point, I am in favor of a parking ban after the parking lot's built. that's kind of where I'm at. I think it makes perfect sense after there's a place to park. I realize that doesn't, if it's a 3-year thing, that's no decision at all. It's not helping anything. I also don't want to vote on it tonight. I think the next steps we should take are, let's confirm what some of the residents are saying about if I've never passed an ordinance myself. I'm sure Catherine maybe has, or maybe understands it, but I'd like to understand, from the LCT, ourselves, getting the information ourselves of what the steps can be for an ordinance. I'd love to hear alternate plans from, the Phalens. If you have a plan that doesn't involve, not tonight, but like if you have a plan that doesn't involve no parking, a parking ordinance on Old Pump that helps between now and when an eventual parking lot ever got built. Those are some of the things I want to do. That I personally would like.
I wonder if, and this is me literally wondering out loud, if there's some way to get residents and the Phalens and some town representative together to try to have a conversation in private. It's not in a secret, but just not in a public way, but just sit down and say, can we talk this through and try to find some way that hurts everybody a little bit and doesn't kill anybody.
That'd be really,
I mean, even
I would be
sure
really
like if it would be appropriate to have like this sounds so controversial, but like a mediator be there to try to facilitate the conversation or some way to try to.
A priest.
Probably go not religious route,
Shaman,
but
yeah.
shaman, maybe shaman. QAnon
That's a really good idea, Peter. I hate having to say that. That's a good idea. I would be happy to be one of those people. I would be happy to not be one of those people if there's people that would work better.
I believe we've offered to do that.
Yeah.
We've already offered.
It's not like,
Yeah, Dan, would you do it if we did?
Of course, I've already done
yeah,
it.
we've all,
Not we've all.
No, but anybody that's asked me, I've done with, I don't believe you've
I
asked.
have, yeah, been part of the group that asked. And it was on an email
But,
chain.
regardless,
okay,
regardless,
let's-
going forward, let's not get a mediator to discuss the mediator. Let's
Yeah.
just agree that.
We want to do it. We do.
Okay.
It's a great idea.
I'm absolutely open to
Yeah,
anything.
great, great. Yeah.
Great.
Okay. I don't know how to move forward with that exactly, but we'll figure it out.
Call it mediation, Eric.
Paul, in your years, do you have any experience with like, oh, here's someone we've used in the past, this kind of thing?
No,
Maybe-
no, we haven't, no, but I
don't
can
love
look
the
into
idea
that.
of hiring or having another outsider. I think if representatives from the Palmer business and representatives from the select board and representative from the Old Pump residents were in a room that wasn't on camera and could just talk through without being worried about every little thing you say being recorded and in the history books forever, I think maybe there could be more progress than what's been made.
I'm able to ask a question. It's a general question about parking.
Yeah.
There's, and I know someone mentioned it at another meeting at the end, and it was something I had thought of beforehand, but never have gotten a chance to ask, but the parking lot across the street that belongs to the church, is there any way that, and I know that it's not ideal, but is there any way that could be rented or, like leased for municipal parking or?
Right.
Yeah, just across, I mean, it's empty like 90% of the time, it's only used when they meet, I believe, for the most part. And just wondered if that's something that could be looked into, where could they benefit from, from having it, the town lease it or partial, and I don't know how these things work, but I mean, like maybe the business owner could partially or whatever, and I know that would probably require a crosswalk, so I know this is a state road, so I know it's complicated. it's not an easy answer, but is that anything that's ever been considered? I mean, you have shared parking here with the church, with the town offices, and is that just one thing that could be looked into to see if it's doable? Just to look into it. It may end up in the long run not be workable, but is that something that could be looked into?
I mean, I think all options should
Anything
be
goes.
on the table.
Yeah, I'm just looking at, it's a quarter mile from store. Which feels,
We've already asked
They
to have,
couldn't, if they couldn't park anywhere else, they might use it. I mean, I would walk a quarter mile for Thomas. As it is, I only have to take a few steps, but
Eric, point. It's Leslie Dunn again. On the Palmer website, it talks about parking being available at the elementary school. And we brought up this discussion and the need for researching that as really a viable option earlier this fall. And that seems like it's something the Palmers were encouraging and was an option. And it hasn't gone anywhere, but I'm curious about that. I guess the other question.
I think this little group that we came up with, this, regardless of who's on it, I think that group will be tasked with evaluating every possible option, and hopefully there's some we haven't thought of. I think.
I'll be the public of Jericho. If we add a parking ordinance on, say, Old Pump Road, then you're gonna ask for an Old Pump Road down on Route 15, where JCAT is. You're gonna start this domino effect of people wanting to say, I don't want parking in front of my house here. I don't want parking in front of my house here. I think you're gonna start a domino effect when you start doing something like this. And I hate to see that parking across the street. Now you're talking to all these kids walking across to get the ice cream. I mean, there's
a difference between a parking ordinance, which is intended to solve a public safety problem, and an ordinance which is intended to solve a nuisance problem. We have a safety problem here.
Yeah, I appreciate the comment. I heard somebody say way more eloquently than I'll get out. Being worried about what happens if you do that first isn't a good reason not to do the thing if it's a good thing. It doesn't mean it's not a valid point, but
and the other thing to remember is we live 25 feet from the roads. This isn't, just I don't want this on my road. We literally have people turning around right in front of our house constantly, and we're only 25, well, it's 30 feet probably, but it's it's a little bit more than these other places that you mentioned. I think, I'm sorry, respectfully, because we live so close to the road. It's got that old village pattern that was established way before automobiles and
okay. I think we at least have a next step here, a couple next steps. I'd like to move on to the next agenda item.
can we wrap up? So where are we ending this? With identify?
We're gonna look into confirm the ordinance and the steps to take, and then putting together some sort of mediation with the select board members and Phelan's and the Old Pump Road residents.
I guess I would ask that can we not use the word mediation and just use the word small group to get together?
I'm worried that it's too emotional at this point to not have a conversation, to not have a third party say, okay, let's listen to this person now. I think that it's a very emotional situation. I think that having someone who does not care about anything except for the conversation going well, that having that person present, I think is worth $500, whatever. To have the conversation go well rather than having it become inflammatory and then everyone's more entrenched and we bring somebody in that point and we've already dug a hole for them. That's one person. Who Amy and Catherine are.
Eric, the real thing is you're talking about a physical problem. That's engineer, survey, economic development, and the cost of that. If those people are, there's where your solutions are. Things like you could move the road could be moved away. You can change the entrance to the post office. You can do a lot of stuff. but you gotta
Okay,
get
okay,
it
Jimmy,
fixed.
okay, but
I
he
disagree-
brings up a good
I
point
I hear
about-
what he's saying, but I disagree with Jim. I think maybe at some point we get to that point. I feel like at this point, we're trying to, I think we're on a human level, trying to deal with emotional situation.
Yes.
And they end up that we need to get like engineering involved or, but at this point, I mean, we need to, this is one person. I feel like we need to get people in a room and try and talk things through.
Yeah, I personally agree with the getting everyone in the room. I think not having the dynamics of this room is gonna help a lot, and I think we could do one or two. And if it goes nowhere, then we can get the third, fourth party in there. I personally don't feel comfortable like bringing a new person who's completely I don't know. I personally don't, but I hear you. But I don't necessarily have to be the one. There's 5 of us. So
Should be a public safety person included in that group, somebody who's knowledgeable about public safety, because again, that is a big issue. I don't want to underemphasize how scary it is to come close to hitting people who run out in front of our cars.
So Catherine and Amy, do you guys have thoughts on how to proceed?
I agree with you, Peter, that I think a mediator, just somebody who can run a meeting with, help the discussion. But having a public safety person is also useful.
Do
But
we have someone like that, Catherine, who we've used before? Do you know?
we had used a mediator before, and not that long ago, who was very effective.
I think that's a good first step.
Jericho
But-
resident. It can't be that, right? It can't be. It's got to be somebody who doesn't love the creamies. It's got to be someone who, right? Like
We all love the creamies. Hold on. I don't think anyone here doesn't love the creamies.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I would ask, I think Jen is super professional, would say like, yeah, I really shouldn't be involved in that. But here's my colleague, Billy, who could do it. Like, yeah,
Exactly, because she will know who could do that is to contact her.
He's really skilled.
Yes. Yes.
I think one thing that would be helpful is to have a timeline, because this problem has gone on and on for years. And without an ordinance and without a timeline, we all love the creamies, and that's really not the issue here. The issue is safety and the issue is risk. And I think some parameters on this discussion. Otherwise, the summer of 26 is going to be the same as 25, 24, 23. It's all going to be exactly the same in protecting Palmer's business, as opposed to protecting the people who are walking up and down Pump Road and driving up and down Pump Road.
Okay.
I mean, I think I stand by what I said before. I'm not comfortable voting on any parking ban until we know about the parking lot.
That could be years. That could be, and we've already been at this for years. I know you're new, but we've been at this for years already.
They shouldn't be.
Okay. We will connect with the mediator. And we'll reach out to, we'll coordinate sometime in the next. What'd you say? Sometime in the next 3 weeks, we'll be in touch with, figure out who, I'd like it to not be like every single person on, just like you don't want it to be the whole select board, which we couldn't do anyway, but you know what I mean? Like it'd be nice to have a good representative that can speak for the concerns of everyone, just like we'll provide a select board member who can speak for at least 4 of us, and go from there.
Maybe 2 people from each party, from each organization, just to have enough brains in the room.
Right.
2 people from the citizens, 2 people from the select board, 2 people from Dan and your wife, or Matt could pop in and do a little.
Okay. We do kind of need to,
But we mentioned the parking lot across the street. Is that something that can also be looked into while we're?
I think that committee is, I think that committee is an idea to how would we go about, I think that little committee should be, even though it's gonna have a mediator, I think it should be like Okay, let's brainstorm. Here's the problem. Let's solve it. Let's figure out what's gonna, and try to do it in a way that doesn't somehow, like Peter said, maybe hurts each group a little bit, and we go from there.
Right.
I think that's the place for those ideas. I think it's a great idea. When I go to, I have a big truck, so like if I have to try to park at Snowflake Chocolate, I have to park here. I love walking. I don't get to walk anywhere from where I live, so I'm fine walking over there. But so I would park there and walk, but I've also been at JES at a softball event. And people drove from JES over to Palmer's.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Right.
oh my God. You guys love driving. I hate driving, so I walked, but
30 or 40 cars there.
yeah, so I get the problem and I understand. Okay.
All right.
Okay, next on our agenda is to review and consider approval of the Underhill-Jericho Fire Department to have a tower at the Highway Department Comcast building. Yeah,
What?
yeah.
Yeah. You want me? Yeah, go ahead.
Johannes Jobst, I'm lieutenant on the Underhill-Jericho Fire Department, been there 27 years, and hopefully this is a less emotional item that we're going to do right now. I have been involved in the communication piece of our department for about 20 years, improving our communications. And as you can imagine, a area like Underhill-Jericho is very big and very hilly. It's very hard to have communications and finding spots where you can have communications at all times for emergency situations. And so we have built this system up for quite some time. And just to give you a little idea, it involves our Underhill station has a tower. South Hill has a tower on top of South Hill that is across from Clark's Truck Center when you look on top of the hill. When you go Pleasant River Road and look up to the right, you see the tower. We have a station there. We have the Jericho station. There is a tower there as well, right? With that, we also are linking back to Brigham Hill, which is in Essex. It's the big tower in Essex that you can see, which links back to the Essex PD building. And that is so that we can get coverage on Route 117, Governor Peck Road, Tarbox Road, so that we can get that area covered because there are so many different coverages. So now that we heard that you guys are taking over the Comcast building and the Comcast tower, not a very high tower, it's only a 50-foot tower, but it would improve for us as well, coverage down to Route 117, Barber Farm Road, Tarbox Road, Governor Peck Road, Nashville Road, which is very bad for us for coverage. So, and that would help us a lot to increase our coverage for us. And if we can go together with you on that tower, which we can split the cost, like Paula and I talked quite a bit about it, and we're willing to split the cost exactly how it's stated by Paula. We can then put our repeater that is currently in Jericho, is not very effective, bring that over to that tower and be a little bit more effective for the area on 117 and Nashville Road, and maybe eliminate the link to SXPD and the SXPD location, because we pay for the SXPD location, we pay some rent there, but because we're in that building and there. So that's why we come here and want to see if you guys are willing to do that. Do you have anything else?
Should I know where the Comcast building is?
I'm looking for it right now.
Jericho.
By the new,
Mobs.
I'm looking
Yeah.
for a hiking park. I'm
So
looking
you
at-
drive-
I'm looking at Google Maps. So you go. You
The
pull
new
into Clark's
garage.
Road,
Yep.
Mobs,
No,
parking is on the right.
yep, go further
past it,
up, where the new
Just past that on
garage
the right-hand
is.
Side, just before the old,
So it's all in
old
Town shed?
Yeah,
Buried within some pine trees.
yeah.
Mhm.
Is that where it is?
buried.
Town shed?
It's buried within some pine trees.
I'm on the House Committee, so I can.
Okay, it's buried between pine trees.
That's
It's
not
right on
parking
top.
No, but what's this?
So you know what a new building is, right? When you go
Yeah.
up,
Yeah.
look to your right,
Across the street.
look to your right,
Okay.
and you
So
see
does
it
that
up
mean
on,
this is town
on the
shed?
hill. It's a tiny tower. It's really not very tall, but it has a good vantage point. There's a reason why they abandoned it, because it's not great
Yeah.
for large coverage. But for us, if we want to do this compartmentalized thesis that we have to
Link
put
one tower to
together,
the other tower.
Yeah.
and in the future, what we want to do is we want to do simulcast. So what we want to do is all of our tower, connect them together. And whenever you key their microphone, all of the towers transmit at the same time. Currently, we only have one tower that transmits, and that is South Hill. All the other ones are listening. So SXPD is just a listening, and it stitches it together over microwave and brings it back together and keys it out of South Hill. Our station in Underhill on 900 will also listen out Route 15, all the corridor out to Route 15 and going up Poker Hill Road, and we'll just listen. And when it listens what it gets, it will transmit back up to South Hill, stitches it together, and then transmits it out there. So we have only one transmission tower at the moment.
So what's the difference between what you, sounds like what you want, what the effect you're looking for
Yeah.
is that when you press the button on your radio, it goes everywhere instantaneously.
So
Versus now it sounds like it goes somewhere and then gets picked up and then processed and then sent
So
out.
this is the other areas, Peter. This area would be for us a different channel. We would start. It's a step-by-step process. We would start with that we're gonna be when it's our channel 2. We're using that as our channel 2. So when we go in that area, we all know we're going to a channel 2 area. Everybody changes the radio to channel 2, and we can talk to everybody on channel 2. When we come back, we go back to channel 1. Now, our channel 2 and channel 1, when I designed all of this, right, only the same channel, but it's just a different code that we transmit in order to open a repeater or open another repeater. So it's a little bit complex how we do it, but it will be a little Lego in our big Lego setup to have that tower there, and later on we will have it transmitting also back and be a whole system in all together system. Won't affect you. You will be just with us on the same tower. You will be with us in the same antenna. So it's all the same antenna. It's just 2 cables coming out, and the 2 cables come down to 2 different pieces of equipment, your repeater, our repeater, and we have filters in between so that we don't interfere with each other. So it will be great for us to be on there with you then.
Why would we say no to you about this?
Nope. That's
what,
great.
like, okay.
No, because
why
I
would-
wanted
like,
to
what's
make it
the-
a little bit emotional so that we.
Yeah, it's not back to follow.
I mean, it just seems like, yeah, you want to use our tower, make sure your communication's better, great, let's.
Laura, you gonna
Just-
recuse yourself on this one?
No, I'm not really
It's
interested,
just-
but I do appreciate how well you explained it.
I think what this will actually truly help with is those dead spots that we have.
Right.
Nashville, what is it, Sleepy Hollow in there, all these little roads where you go in and you're trying to key up and you can't talk. You're not getting to the same place, you're not getting to back to this batch, so we do have dead areas and we're trying to fix that.
Yeah, I mean.
We still look for grants. I know last year we put out and tried to get, I think it was $1 million
grant.
$1.4 million we asked for, which would raise our 70-foot antennas to like 150-foot antennas and try to do this whole simulcasting. That's where that cost is. It's major money, but we're going to continue to ask for grant if we make that happen. But in the meantime, we're looking to just see if we can, hey, you got an antenna over here that we can possibly share, and then which would help the Jericho residents have more coverage.
Is there any cost to the town, either financially or in terms of like, oh, we have a smaller bandwidth for the road crew now or anything? There's no negative impact whatsoever for us.
No,
No, we
we
built
split
it
the
together
costs.
and we share it.
What'd you say?
We split the cost.
Mhm.
The town will split the cost with the fire department. The fire department will pay theirs and then we'll pay ours. Yeah,
What's your
there's,
recommendation, Paula, on this?
I think it's, yeah, I would do it. Yeah. We will work out like later on that I talked to Todd a little bit about like doing a contract, so we have something formal, but this, just to get the ball rolling and get the tower up and everything,
And it has power to the building. Do we need
Yep.
to just put a second meter there so that way the Underhill-Jericho meter would just basically power our equipment, you power ours? These are these things we just finalize on that side.
yeah.
But I think that would be the kind of the easiest thing on the power side. And then at that point, it's good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for three of us sharing the building, right?
My understanding is we're actually moving out of the.
You are, okay.
You're not totally moving out, are you?
I wasn't at the last meeting.
Okay. I know the machine will get moved down to the old highway department.
Yeah.
But everything else I think could have stayed is what I thought, but okay. I can check.
We're easy neighbors if we are.
I didn't hear that comment. What you just talked.
There was some discussion in the room concerned about whether the mobs committee is completely vacant out of that Comcast building that they're calling it, or if they just will have a little bit of stuff in there and they're not exactly sure. That's all.
Yeah, because I wondered about the mobs because I know they were using it because they have their little snowcat or whatever it is and some other material stuff in there.
Okay.
Will we make a motion?
Be nice if someone would.
Okay, let's see how I do with this. I make a motion to approve the Underhill-Jericho Fire Department to have a tower at the Jericho Highway Department's Comcast building.
I will second that.
All those in favor?
I think you ought to say, put in the
amount.
The amount.
And also it's a shared tower with the town of Jericho. We aren't adding a tower over there.
Right.
So I think that's the proper terminology. We are sharing the tower.
17,000.
Shared tower with the town
Mhm.
of Jericho.
Yeah.
As
At a
with
cost
the
of-
cost of $17,391.18.
Laura made the motion, Peter seconded it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Cool.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Yes. Thank you.
No mediator required.
What are we using? So that tower doesn't exist.
The ideas.
No, there's a tower there on the, yeah, yeah.
No, but then what are we using?
We have a tower at our old facility,
Oh.
but there's also a tower on that Comcast building.
Okay.
And it's about, I would say, that tower location plus the tower, even though it's not a high tower, I think it's a 50-footer. When I was measuring it by eyes, it's still over 70 feet higher than where you are right now with the town garage. So you will have improvement on where you go, and hopefully we can cut a few trees.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What are we doing now? Approve final draft budget for FY27.
Who you guys think? You've already talked about
This is yours too, Todd.
You want me to stay?
No.
I have the info.
I only made that comment because I believe you live in Jericho.
Oh, yeah,
It's your budget.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What are we gonna do here, Paul?
So you all got a new updated
Mhm.
budget. So I think what we should do is just approve the, if you want to go through it or anything like that, but just approving this draft budget, which will be forwarded on to the town meeting reimagined and it's posted online, so it is online, the new updated one. Sabina just did that tonight.
The one that we have right here, the one you sent us.
Yep, that's the last one that I sent you. Yep.
Can you briefly describe, you said Brian found a couple small
It
mistakes.
wasn't, it had to do with the capital budget that switched over to the general operating budget, just a couple of different numbers that he just needed to fix. So there wasn't like a major, no, it actually dropped it just a little. It was 7.98, it's now 7.97.
Okay.
So. Yeah, no big changes that when we went through that budget before, just a couple of minor changes that Brian had found.
Okay. What would the board like to do? Would you like to review it one more time? Would you like to?
I don't want to review it again. I want, the thing in my mind is, some kind of one sheet write-up of here. Personally, I would like to not go line by line through the whole budget this year. I'd like to hit the high points. Maybe we baby step into it, hit the high points in each section very quickly on a piece of paper and then talk it through. But I'm not sure how other folks feel about that. I've been doing it line by line for a bajillion years.
You don't got a very big time frame this year, so it's gonna, I agree that you should just hit those high points, and if anybody has any questions, you could.
Discuss the $500 for the tennis courts.
Yeah.
So the audience has the line by line. We just don't read it to them and go through.
Exactly.
We hit the highlight.
This is an annual report.
Mhm.
Oh, no, never mind.
This will be at the
Budget.
town meeting
Yeah,
reimagined.
yeah,
It's online.
Yeah, it's online.
This is what they have.
Paper copies there.
Yep.
And then when they hand the paper copy out, they also have one piece of paper that says budget highlights.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then we make that into a
Mhm.
we're making all of them, making a 4-slide PowerPoint,
Mhm.
and someone just says, here are the highlights. Those are the things, here's the consideration we made, here's where it all sugared off to.
Mhm.
We're happy to discuss anything you want to discuss, and you're welcome to make motion and adjust the budget as you see fit. Have at it.
We usually have that sheet. We just also go line by line, but yeah, so yeah, there's usually a little something that kind of.
Like an overview.
Changes.
Mm.
Stuff like that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the budget also needs to go to the planning commission, because that's part of the
The
rules.
capital budget does.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Right. It already went there.
Oh, good.
It already-
The, actually, at one point, I mean, things have shifted over the years, but for a while there, the select board was just doing the highlights of each thing, because there aren't that many changes in percentage each year, and that's not explained. The key is, we now have 5 people. How do you want to split how you're going to handle the presentation? Is it one person going to do it, or are you going to split to 5? Because in the past, the chair always did as long as I've been on the board, the chair always did the revenues, because that's the good part. And then the very end, when you the closing with the debt and things like that, and in between, the other ones were split between the other members so that everybody got a chance to present. When we first started a new capital budget program, better than the one that was prior to my coming on the board, because I was the newbie, I got to present the capital budget. And we did find way back then that if you do the revenue and then the capital budget, that hits all the big expensive items. And then the rest is very easy to, just move through, because the biggest item of each one will be the salaries, and that's pretty standard.
Okay.
I'm proposing not doing that. I'm proposing not doing what you're talking about, Catherine. My proposal is, here's the budget. It's up. I'm making this up. It's up $600,000. Here's where it's up. Here's where it's down. Here are the major driving factors. We debated this topic. We ended up here. We're open to questions, and you're welcome to make motions to amend the budget as you see fit. It's your meeting, taxpayers, go. like, which I would imagine being one person, probably Eric. But who, one person's just saying, hey, here you have this sheet in front of you.
Right.
These are the highlights. And this meeting is about you guys having the final say in what the budget looks like before it goes to the Australian ballot. So what do you want to do? That's my,
I like that too.
You also have to think about, don't forget, you have to have, in February, there will be another presentation that probably needs to be fuller, because it's the one required for, the Australian ballot. And what's in the budget.
Yeah,
that will be after this.
yep. So, right, because that one, the one she's talking about will be amended by the one you're talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That'll
be the final budget that gets.
I'm not opposed to what Peter said. I like it. It is a very big change. It's a very big change. So I don't want to just play it off like, oh, that's a good idea. Let's try it. It is a good idea, and I like it. But it's also very, very different from what we've done. So
I do think that given how much time we're not going to use going line by line, there's time to say, hey, this is going to feel different. Like at the opening.
Yeah, I can do
like
that.
this is going to feel different. Here's why we're doing it. And
we only have 2 hours.
Here's our thinking, and here's how we're doing it. And if you guys hate this, we can talk more about it. But we want to try this year to have time for a rich conversation and not you all just staring at us going line by line through $150 expenditures. We wanted to have time to have a rich conversation, blah, 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 blah. And then
And participants have this.
They have
and so
They
can
have
say
it. They can
why-
ask a question. Yeah.
absolutely. And they can say, we want to add numbers, want to add this number or take off from this number. That's the emphasis. That it's their chance to have direct democracy.
So what we could do, we could still kind of set it up a little bit like what Catherine's saying, and we take the 5 of us and we divide it up. And so we're ready for any, so like, let's say I get,
Yes.
I get administrator and select board salaries, right? I'm not going to talk about them, but if somebody asks about them, we'll know as the 5 of us, okay, they're asking about select board and administrator, that's Eric. Oh, they're asking about highway, that's Peter or whatever.
Yep.
We could do that. And that way we don't all feel like we all have to know every little detail, but we could really understand your section really well. And
So would you guys want to do that tonight? Like, would you like to break it up? Like, starting with the expenditures, town treasurer through listers
here's
for
what I
you?
propose. I don't care which, so I like it. Well, first off, let's hear from Amy. And are you still
I
on?
mean, I have nothing major to add there. So
Do you
we can
like,
keep going through.
first off, starting with, do you like Peter's idea? And do you
I
recognize
do.
it?
I like the idea of I think of it like an executive summary, and I would prefer to do that than going through line by line. I think it's easier for the 5 of us, and I think it's easier for everyone involved and getting through our 3 hours that we have for that meeting. So I support that.
Okay. Catherine, is it going to break your heart if we do that?
It won't break my heart. I think I worry about, I can see cutting it down, just, saying intergovernmental, there's no big changes or something like that for each, rather than line by line. I think that works. Because I'm worried about if we make too many changes, we're going to shoot ourselves in the foot with TMRI, and people are going to feel like, okay, we're
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
because
I think doing it this way, I think Peter's intent, don't let me speak for you, I guess, but what I would like about this is I think it opens up more opportunity for discussion. Whereas, at the last one, because the meeting was restricted to not just an open, you can be there all night, like the previous couple town meetings were, right?
Yeah.
It was like, okay, we got to, all right, yeah, I know you're interested in this, but we've got like 50 more lines to go. So we, at some point the moderator is like looking at the time and, he's kind of conducting the meeting based on that. So I think what I'm hoping is that it doesn't do what you're saying and just like, all right, well, they just said 5 things. I don't care. All right, I'm gone. Like, I'm hoping that's not what happens.
I think we need to frame it that way, like, we're not going detail by detail, but we are here to discuss anything you want to discuss. If you come here with a question about line 17, that's only $1,200, we want to talk about that.
Right.
We don't want to walk you through the whole budget when you're basically reading a piece of paper that you all have had for the last.
Yeah, you have 2.5 hours. And remember, last year it was voting was a
Right,
huge
and we have
problem.
time
That
to
voting
push
was
it through.
huge on those things. And
I think we're
But
better
the
prepared. for that.
I
voting
think
this
they are
year,
too.
voting this year is really going to be better.
Yeah.
That's what they're here to talk
Yeah.
about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be great. And we'll
Yeah.
get to that when we get to that section of the agenda. But okay, so it sounds like what we need, sounds like we agree with the general strategy that Peter laid out. We need that paper. Could we then what I was gonna propose is who owns what? Can you just assign it?
Yeah.
As you're just dole it out and do any of you have it?
I don't care.
Okay, so that the goal will be, so Paula will come up with, all right, with your section and your job, select board, is to whatever section she says, unless you're really uncomfortable with it, let her know and switch with somebody.
Mhm.
Your job is to learn that section and really understand it and ask Paula or
Mhm.
ask the board if you
Yeah.
don't understand, what did we decide here? All that stuff's fine, but just try to be ready for it. And we'll, obviously, the whole board's there to help, and
Right.
so if you get
Mhm.
stumbled,
Mhm.
it's fine.
Mhm.
So what I propose is we ask Paula with maybe Amy and Brian's help to prepare that sheet for the
Yep.
next meeting.
Yep.
Is that okay?
Or
maybe
the
give-
highlight sheet.
The highlight
Yep.
sheet, maybe
Yep.
we can send it to us, Patty.
Yep.
Yeah, and then and then at the next meeting, we can confirm it or whatever.
Mhm.
Okay. So with all that, what's in front of us tonight is to approve the budget. Approve the final
Approve the
draft.
final draft of the budget.
Draft. Right.
Thank you.
So I would make a motion to move forward with the budget in its current draft form to put before the voters on January 20th.
I second that.
Peter made the motion, Amy seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes 5-0. Got ourselves a budget, gang. You vote.
Yay.
Okay, next is Town Meeting Reimagined update with Dave Barrington and Sam. Is it Gralty?
Gralty.
Gralty.
It's actually Gay, Gabe online.
Yeah, Gay is here.
Gay is Dave Barrington tonight.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi,
There
Gay.
she is.
Okay.
Take it away, Gay.
Yeah, did you have a intro?
You want me to start? Let me just say, I'll tell you what I think we're talking about. Sam's gonna focus on the voting process. We've spent quite a bit of time, going over what we learned in the first TMRI. We also just want to check back with you on some minor items so you aren't surprised. And just about the setup of the room. We are going to have a dry run practice session next week. Paula and Sabina have both offered to help because we need to work out sort of the logistics of how the computers and the screens are going to be set up. So we'll walk through that. And I have some questions about which warned items are going to appear on the ballot for discussion this year. Last time it was only the draft budget. And on the draft warning that we got, that I looked at it, there were more like 5 or 6 items. So I think it'd be helpful to leave the meeting knowing what you plan to actually warn for this meeting. I thought it would be just the budget and the town library, $50,000 a year for 4 years, those 2 items. But maybe it's also.
We weren't sure if, so Article 1, there's 5 articles, right? The general ones are treasurer. Are you going to collect taxes? So and so.
Yeah, we didn't do those last year.
Right. So
Sure,
the 3 that I put on here was shall the voters approve for Article 1, the amount on the budget? The next one, I wasn't sure, is shall the voters appropriate the fire department amount? Should we take that off or should we not?
Didn't do that last year. Just,
Right.
um,
And then
Got that in the budget last year.
we didn't put it in the TMRI stuff.
Right, but every year before that at town meeting.
They would
people get
discuss
to have
it.
Opportunity for that, so.
Right.
that's an interesting-
So I put that one on here along with the last one. Gay was going back and forth with me, which was great. The shall the voters approve the 50,000 for 4 years for the Jericho Town Library renovation. So
That
those,
one I don't want, I don't know that one goes to the 20th meeting. We
Okay.
already decided that's.
I thought that was Australian ballot.
That's.
It
Australian
is,
ballot,
yep.
And I don't know.
It
it'll
is
have
good.
to be- it has to be on the warning.
This
It
is,
has to be on the warning, absolutely.
Right. Yes.
Absolutely.
this is a
Yep.
warning. Can I just be, there's two different warnings. It would obviously be on the warning for town meeting day. But just as a reminder, last year, the only thing we warned was the budget. That's it. There was one item. And I don't understand why this year suddenly we're putting all these other things in there. Like,
Well, why would the
this
library
is
be on-
called the budget review meeting. And
And if it can't be amended.
so I'm surprised that we wouldn't talk about,
So we can call it that, but I thought the feedback we got was that people wanted the opportunity to talk about some of the other, right? Like they wanted to be able to propose other ballot items. They wanted to be able to, right? Like.
but they
isn't that the
can't.
whole-
Eric, we learned that that it's too late to talk about citizen petitions and petition items because those all had to have been, I think the deadline, I forget exactly what it is, but it's before the 20th of January.
It's the
I thought that's
15th.
why we chose the 20th.
No,
I really thought that's why we chose the 20th.
No. We've known all along that the petition stuff is around the 15th or 16th.
15th.
Yeah, and what worked for everybody was for the 20th for the TMRI, the budget discussion. Because
All right.
otherwise we end up pushing the select board.
I mean, theoretically, if there's
Budget.
a lot of activity around something, and people come in with a late petition or whatever, the select board does have the opportunity to decide to put something on the Australian ballot.
Right, so hold on, so that's what Art just said?
Yeah.
If someone comes in on the 20th with a proposal like the town tree that we voted on a town meeting whenever years ago, could that or couldn't that happen on January 20th? A vote on the town tree?
If the select board has an item, and they put it in the warning,
Mhm.
if
But what
the
if-
select board initiated public question, then it could come up for discussion if you want to include it. But if it is, I think, well, anyway. This
No,
is,
finish that
it's hard
thought.
to be this far into the process and, last year, as Paula said, it was really hard to talk about just the budget and in 2.5, 3 hours. You're going to have a SALT amendment this year.
Yep.
I don't see how you think we're going to fit all this into the night.
I'm fine just having it about the budget.
Okay, so we're gonna
chose
just-
this date so that we could do that other stuff, but I am totally
That's what I
fine.
thought also.
We're just gonna take and keep Article 1 on there, Gay. I'll remove the other ones on the agenda, that TMRI agenda.
I think
Okay,
fire-
just as one, I
Okay.
think this is
part of our
consistent with
budget.
what I was
think
saying,
fire department.
but the fire department and the library both are budget related. They're money related. So I wasn't as concerned about that. I was just surprised that they were on there. It's,
Yeah, I think the fire department one goes because the fire department. Forget how it works. Yes, the fire department budget will be included in the one line item that voters are giving an up down vote on. Right?
On the Australian ballot.
Mhm.
right? That 4 million that they'll vote, or
Right,
whatever it is,
it's wrapped in-
it's in there. So I think fire department makes sense.
Okay, so
I don't
those
think the
two,
library makes sense, because we've
Okay.
already decided as a board.
Yep.
That is a ballot item.
Okay.
That's been decided. We're not gonna let the only thing someone could do is convince us not to, but we already did, so if.
Okay.
Like, that's
so I'll
been
just put
decided.
those two articles on this agenda. Okay,
I think.
no
so.
worries.
I don't think you need the second. I think it's just the budget is what Eric's saying, because the fire department is built into the budget.
Right, but
No, but Eric wants to have a discussion about about the fire department budget on the 20th.
I know,
As a
but you can do that
as a
'cause
discrete
it's a-
topic.
But isn't it a line item in the budget?
Yes, it is.
So by having in the budget, we have the fire department. Why do you want to also have a second item?
Well, the warning has always, in the last, well, I don't know how many years it's been going on, but the warning itself has the fire department as a separate item because it is a substantial, it got so large that it didn't fit outside agencies. I mean, because it really is a number unto itself. So it's always been, I don't know, must be 6, 7, 8 years that it's been, actually, yeah, because Matt Champlin did
Right.
of it. So it could be more than 10, it could be over 10 years that the fire department has been a separate line item as part of the discussion.
I'm not questioning that. My question is why this year we're putting it including the separate ballot item when we didn't last year.
because last year was the only year that it hasn't been called out separately.
But it did for the actual town meeting, it was a separate item when we did the warning.
This is the warning for January 20th, though. That's all.
Yes, that's exactly right. And so last year was just the budget for the TMRI.
Well, that's until tonight. That's what your task force has thought this would be. Since the, I guess I'm just confused that the budget includes the line item for the fire department. If someone were to come and say, we want you to cut the fire department's budget line item in half, and that gets passed, I don't think it would, but if it were to pass, then you will have to change that ballot item. But why have us go back into the fire department debate as a separate warned item? Am I not making any sense here?
I know what you're saying.
I get what you're saying too.
My thinking is that historically the fire department has been such a big number that people have wanted to talk about it as a separate entity, and especially given that we're moving. I don't know if you were here earlier, Gay, when we were talking about not going line by line this year, but just going big picture. That having a time when we say, okay, hold on, time out. We're going to discuss the fire department budget now. Todd, you want to say anything? He says a few words. People have a chance to ask questions. Great, we're done. Move on. That feels, I think that in terms of the history of how we've always done things, that feels important to maintain.
I totally agree.
That's my thing.
I totally agree with you, but why do you need to have the separate ballot item to do that? It's in the budget.
Wouldn't it mean that it would mean separate action in the meeting, like they would approve Article 1 and then, okay, now we move on Article 2, which is the fire department. Is that right, Gabe? Is that what you're saying? Instead, let's just have it be Article 1, which is inclusive of the fire department.
Yeah, I think I opened up a can of worms that I probably shouldn't have.
Yeah, exactly. It's actually,
Before?
I don't think, yeah, the way the fire department is handled in the budget is quite, is different than other items in terms of how they're considered at the very end when it's collections and remittances. So that's the separate kind of title that is in the budget.
Because we share it with Underhill. I'm siding with Gail. I'm sort of confused as to why we would have split up, but that would be the only thing I would think is like, is it because it's a shared budget item?
No, that's not why.
No.
If we go back 5 years and we had town meeting and that's when the budget got voted and approved and amended, when was the fire department budget discussed? Was it discussed before the budget or after the budget?
After.
So we passed the budget. So we would pass the budget, and then afterward we'd say, and we're gonna take $500,000 and add that to the fire department budget, and that adjusts the budget we just passed.
Okay.
What, the other reason we did it is because people really did want to talk about they were really pleased when
Right.
we started doing
I
it.
understand that.
Right, Matt would do a
Stand up and do a
presentation and
presentation,
talk
right.
to them about the budget and,
Yeah.
Well, my concern would be that we make it clear when we are going to talk about the fire department. So we don't do it once while we're in the budget and then again in the separate ballot item.
We never talked
Absolutely.
about it. We haven't, when it went to a separate item, it was not talked about in the budget. It was Matt and the fire department talked about it separately.
Okay.
I'd like the select board to talk about their budget first, and then I'd like to move to the fire department to give them an opportunity and to give the townspeople an opportunity. You're right. The separate ballot item gets a little weird because it does exist as a line item, but it's not something that we the select board, are not going to talk about it in any way. We're going to ask that the fire department be there to answer it. So it kind of makes sense, even though there's technical reasons to do one way or the other. I'd like it as a separate.
So I guess what I would ask is that Dave have a heads up that if somebody asks about the fire department's line item during the budget discussion, we say, you know what, that's going to come later.
Yep,
Absolutely.
agree.
Okay, great. Thanks. One other.
Can't hear you.
Oh, no.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You wanted risers so that you could be higher and you could see everybody. And
No, I know. We're not getting them. We're getting a tall table. It's fine.
okay, sorry. And then I'll turn to Sam. He'll do the voting, but I just want to say that I really like that you focused on this summary presentation. That was a strong recommendation that came out of our report to the select board.
Oh, cool.
Based on
So what's your idea?
based on the experience last year. So thank you for that, because I think that will work really well. And with that, I'm gonna let Sam describe the voting process. And our thought here is just so you have a heads up and understand what we're trying to achieve and aren't surprised.
Yeah, I echo what Kate said about the summary as well. I'd also recommend, I used to live in Richmond and they've been doing it that way for years. So either talking to them or watching an old MMC TV, they have some good ways to do it in language, and they have a slide deck, and yeah, so.
They're living in the past. They still have town meeting.
We still have town meeting. It's just been reimagined. Yeah, so the voting, I was kind of tasked with taking the lead on doing some voting stuff and try to make it more as efficient as possible. Essentially what we're gonna do is, I have a visual, which is, I didn't bring hard copies. It's on the town meeting page of the website if you want to pull it up, but essentially what it is kind of parallel processes online and in person. So once we get to a vote, there's sort of a getting a sense of the room part, which in person has always traditionally been the voice vote. And what we're going to do online for that is to utilize the built-in poll feature of Zoom, where I will be sort of the admin person who will take the language of whatever it is we're voting on. I'll put it into a Zoom poll. People will then click yay, nay, or abstain. And I will see a percentage of whether it's passed or not. I would then communicate that to Dave. If it's above a 2/3 majority, I would say, Dave, looks solid. I think online people approved it, and then he would assess, did the voices in the room approve it? And he would then do the process of, it appears that the ayes have it. And if there's no dissent or no call for division, then it would be approved. The one thing that doesn't take into account is multiple people on a single computer. And I think we should be open about that and say, we understand that this isn't a perfect system. But it's the closest analog to the vocal vote. So there could be a really quiet person or a really loud person. And so we understand that there is some imperfection in there. if it's a close vote or at any point somebody says, I call for a hand vote, you can move on to the next phase. So that's sort of the first chunk using that online functionality of Zoom to get that sense of the room quick, hopefully relatively quick. Vote. Any questions about that before I move on to the next?
Who's gonna explain this?
I'm gonna do the going through. We also have a video that we made, and I'll be doing the explaining at the beginning. So
Okay, great. And this visual is great.
yeah.
Where do you get that?
TMRI webpage.
We're also like at the very beginning of the meeting, gonna do sort of a low stakes, what's your favorite color vote, just so everybody sort of does it when it's not like, oh, this really matters. I need to make sure I like, hey, welcome to the meeting. As I'm explaining this, I'm gonna be going through and saying, hey, everybody, in a second, if you're online, you're gonna get a question that pops up and say, is your favorite color blue? Yes or no? And then people will do that. Dave will similarly say, all those in favor of their favorite color being blue, say aye. Aye. So we can
Not gonna
do
do blue and red. We're not gonna do colors.
maybe not blue, red. I'll think of more,
Like green and.
yeah.
and-
Purple.
Yes, I'll think of some sort of test question that is very low stakes.
Well, I think it's
No.
Yeah, I think it should be yes, no question.
Yeah.
Is blue the greatest color ever?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Exactly. It's gonna, the choices will mirror
mean
the exact
purple,
thing as,
not blue.
That's
Yeah.
great.
So I'll be explaining that and do that sort of silly test run through.
Yeah.
And then we'll do that process. Again, if there is a close vote, like if I see that it's on 66% or Dave says, I think, it seems close, I think we should move to a hand count. We would then move on to the next phase, which would be an actual hand count. So what we would do then is, classic, put your hands up, we'd have assistants help do the hand counting online. We would require people to come off of, if they don't have their camera on, turn their cameras on, literally raise their hands, no digital hands, like literally raise their hand. And that way, if there are two people sitting next to each other on a single computer, they each have their hand up if they're both voting together. I and at least one other person would then count the hands on the screen. And then I would give my tally to Dave, you'd do the grand total, and that would be our way to do that. If we also have, for some reason there's somebody who doesn't have a camera or can't do that portion
On their phone.
or on a phone, we would ideally, and I'll in the beginning say, if you don't have a camera or you don't have the ability to show us that you're raising your hand, we would then assign sort of a proxy that they would then either come off of mute and have to verbally say their vote, or there would be somebody that they could message and they would vote on their behalf. I don't think that would be many people. Most people have the capability to join via a camera and Zoom, but that would be our plan in that scenario. So yeah, then we would just total all the hands in the room and all the hands online. And then we'd see if it helps. And the nice thing about it is it's a hand vote, regardless of where you are. Yeah, so that's
Have
the,
you talked to them about color votes?
Rather than calling it division, we're likely to say we're moving to a hand vote. We're trying to get used to saying, using language that helps people understand what we're talking about.
yeah.
No, we kind of did it right here, 'cause I just did a little sheet and I wanted to run it by you guys to find out.
Okay, so there's another question I have. There's a question I have for the
On the
TMRI.
top, that was kind of see if that's what I remember jotting
So
down.
the TMRI groups gave us feedback that they would like the select board to come up with some kind of, I'm gonna butcher the way you said it, but hopefully you'll get what I mean. That we have some kind of guidelines of like limits to things and what to do with very close votes and what types of things.
Yeah,
I will share that the select board came up with those. Our question to you as a group is, do we publicize them or do we not publicize them?
So you're saying like in order to like parse something out, separate it and have it as a separate item in March, is that what you're saying?
Right, no, so,
Well,
right, sort of.
How to navigate, like last time something passed, a big number passed, 51 to 50. It was not a great vote.
Yeah.
And we were like, okay, guess we move forward. And I think the board felt crappy about that.
Yeah.
And
What we recommended, I think, in the report was when you have something that's fairly substantial and any kind of close vote, what we were saying to you is we wanted to remind you, you have the authority to do what you're doing with the library vote. You can separate that out as it's valid.
Hang on 1 second, Gabe, because we talked about this and we have a proposal.
Okay.
What made me nervous about sharing it in a public meeting is I hope that if we do share what our idea is, that people don't like work around and play silly games.
Gaming system, essentially.
That's
So
why
let's say we came up with, hey, anything over 50,000, I made up that number. It's not true. It's not what we're doing. Anything over 50,000, we're going to send to a ballot vote. So then 49.90, right? Like that's the kind of stuff I'm worried about. So what I'm wondering is, do we give this information to the moderator, or do we just do it here in public and everything?
I don't think you should do it. You don't think you should worry about it personally. If you're asking, I would, after the meeting, you guys are warning, you're creating the warning for the town meeting day. And you can you can design that and have that discussion then to say, I think we should divide it this way. This is the budget, and we should separate this piece out as its own ballot item. I agree with you. I think that if you start saying, we're going to do it at this amount, and if it's this close, then it makes it, you're giving up you have the authority to do whatever you want, and you're making it so it's you're inviting that kind of manipulation. And why bother?
Because we're also trying to honor town meeting and the way that it used to run, the direct democracy and the ability of people of 100 people to organize and overrule the select board, the parameters and reasonability. But we're sort of, I think, trying to honor that and not just say, we'll have these votes and stuff, and then once you kids go home, we'll decide what we're gonna actually do. I think we wanna have it be like what comes out of this. That I think there was a lot of power last time that the meeting ended with someone making a motion to pass the budget as amended by the voters and the board voting yes. I think that had some power to it and send a message about this meeting matters. If it becomes do this stuff, have these conversations, have these votes, and then the select board just does whatever we want, then that feels to me like it really screams, don't want to showing up, they're gonna do it anyways.
I completely agree with you, Peter. I just don't know what you gain by saying if it's this amount and this percentage of the voters, as opposed to just doing all our publicity says over and over again, that if a vote is close on a large item, the select board may, create that as a separate ballot item.
I would recommend, I think if you have parameters, they're gonna come out eventually. So I would recommend put parameters out there, but we reserve the right to not follow, but
if we feel like you're gaming the system, we're gonna not let that fly.
Correct. Yeah, it's like here's what's gonna guide our thinking, but it's not gonna control our thinking, essentially. So sort of that would be my recommendation, because I think there is power in
I think that language, this is gonna guide our thinking, but not
control our thinking.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. Yeah, that's a great way.
Gaming the system.
Right. Yeah.
There's one, like,
Also, just.
when we talked about this,
right.
when we talked about this at a public meeting, which someone really wants to, they can go find it. But I'm just gonna broadcast it. But I did think of one more challenge that might be worth chatting about here. The one scenario.
Sorry, this will guide our thinking, not
control it.
That we didn't think of is if there's hardly anyone there. Right? Like we came up with like, okay, if it's this much, it's this percentage of the vote. There's 10 people there.
They showed up. 10 people
So,
showed up.
so if 10 people show up and 6 people vote to, let's say our parameter was 50 grand. It's not, but let's just say it was 50 grand. And so someone said, all right, 49 grand for new something.
T-shirts.
Yeah, new t-shirts, and 6 people say yes. We're gonna do that.
I don't think it'll happen, but I would.
Laura?
In the Old Town meeting, what would have happened if only 10 people showed up?
Right. Six people
Right.
added money.
No, that's very true.
That's my thinking, is it's the way it's always been.
That's right.
Okay.
Those 10 people controlled the meeting because it was their meeting, not ours.
Yeah, you're right. What made me think of that is how few people showed up to the first one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
You know,
It has to stand up.
but it wasn't that few people. It wasn't the lowest number of people that have ever showed up at town meeting.
No. He's talking about the
one in
first
September.
meeting this year, the first meeting of this round in the library.
Oh, it was.
I think that's a very different meeting.
Yeah, I hope so.
Right, but it made you think.
But like
Right.
a lot more people came to the first one,
Right.
so that's.
It looks to me like the budget is going up over 20%.
Nope.
What?
It's going from 3 million to 4 million.
No,
3 million
it hasn't.
No.
No, going up
Okay.
by 7.87.
Can I have that paper?
7.97.
The one you just got.
That calculation is for 26, 27. It's not for 25, 26.
That's how percentages always work.
All I'm saying is that if I look at let's just take the revenues. And where I was going with this is that it looks like your budget is total revenues is 3,400,000. And the new budget is 4 million, right?
So you're going from the actual
The first page.
25 all the way to the budget for 26,
Yes,
For 27.
okay.
for 27.
Remember, 25 did not,
Is
you know,
not, yeah.
there was some change.
25, you're not, the actuals for 25 is not the actuals.
We're still living in it.
Because the auditors have nothing has been officiated with the FY 25 actuals. So that number you're looking at that we made 30,000,
Last
that's,
year's budget increase was a large percentage. This year's budget increase is not a large percentage.
All I'm saying is your total expenditures are going from 3,182,000 to 4,091,000. That's
Where are you seeing
I
those
don't understand
numbers?
what you look.
the last page.
Hey, Eric, I'm afraid I have a family commitment and I need to
yeah,
skip.
we're on a different,
Yeah.
Let's
We
get
didn't pass the budget.
Well, all I wanted to say to you, with
I just
respect
have
to
to go.
the
Sorry.
presentation,
Okay,
bye,
thank you.
Gay.
Hi.
Bye. Thank you, Gay, for coming.
What's the point you're trying to get to?
that let's just say that when I go through this, I'll use the library as an example. When we put cash expenses in, and let's just say I'm putting a foundation in, that's a 40 or 50 year item. I shouldn't be expensing a foundation from my current tax revenues. I should be amortizing it over the life of the asset. And we should be looking through this budget, which is going up, and things are getting worse. And here's my presentation to you. Number one, we're better off to spend money today if the inflation in the cost of doing it is greater than the cost of your money. But if you get an item turned down because the cash impact on the taxpayer is distorted. So let's just say let's try to use
You're probably 100% right. I'm not an accountant and my brain's not really in accountant mode. This is really about the meeting, how people vote, trying to get them there, trying to make sure that they find it meaningful. I hope that they do, so that we have this perfect hybrid of, well, it gives too much power to this one meeting compared to, yeah, but we love the meeting and it gives us a chance to have this direct democracy, right? That whole long vote that took a long time to, that's what we're trying to do. And so I don't disagree with you. I'm not an accountant and
but I'm gonna try to give it a simple perspective.
30 seconds.
If we're gonna spend $300,000 to build something, and it's gonna last 30 years.
Yep.
That proper amortization is $10,000 a year, not 300 one
In
year.
this year.
I get that.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes.
So if you present it without putting, let's say, for example, putting it into the bond fund, amortized. So let's just say the interest is $4,000. If I spend 300 and I finance 290 and I pay 10 in cash, the interest on the 290 is $12,000. So the total cost amortized is 22,000 versus 300,000.
I get it.
Okay.
It's still accounting stuff. but
So
it
if
doesn't
we
have-
go, no, it isn't. It's the decision
It
as to
is.
whether you're gonna finance something through your bonding capability.
Yeah,
Hold on, time out.
Or
Kim, hold on,
cash out.
Kim, time out. Right now, the conversation that we're having is not about the budget. It's not about how we present the budget. It's about TMRI and how we're gonna run how we're gonna run that process for 2.5 hours.
Right.
And I would request that you stay focused on that. Not that you're wrong at all. I get what you're saying.
Well,
about-
I came tonight to talk to you about it because I think you've got cash expense items in here that would be better off amortized, and once you go through it, things could get voted down that I think should be
Okay.
approved.
Okay, that's a great point. Thank you.
And that discussion is part of the meeting structure.
Sam, did you have more?
I don't think so unless you had questions.
That was our big question of. We really felt that we had been asked to come up with those parameters by your group. And we came up with them, and I like what you said. That was a great answer. They're there to guide our thinking, not control our thinking, or something like
Yeah,
that.
those rules are.
Yeah.
Mhm.
She's still-
Yeah.
So I guess my other question is, and this is maybe a question for you or Paula and Sam, it sort of, has someone thought through what I always think of as a lesson plan? Like, oh, okay, at 6 o'clock, Dave's gonna do this, and then Sam's gonna do this, and then Paul's gonna do this, and then like, is that flow been thought through? Because I have no sense of it. Right now, my plan is to show up and be like, okay, like, oh, this road, okay.
We have a loose plan. I think it will be crystallized in this walkthrough that's happening on next
Wednesday.
Wednesday. But Dave and I met to talk about the kind of preamble and how I'm gonna filter in with talking about how the online voting or how the voting process is gonna work. So yes, we've thought through it. It's not
Dialed in but-
minute by minute, but yes, we have.
And then at some point, you're gonna sort of say, okay, select board, like, you're gonna say, I'm assuming you're gonna say, do I have a motion for the budget? And someone gonna say motion and second, and then select board, and then we'll talk about the big overview and all that.
Yeah, and that's, as far as I know, that's basically, you're not expected to do anything more than that. Field questions
Yeah.
about the budget and
Yeah.
present on the
Yeah.
budget. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And thanks for your work.
Yeah, thanks for your work on the committee.
We should open too by getting a lot of thanks to the
Oh,
folks.
Yeah, for TMRI.
Oh,
Yep,
yeah.
for sure.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Perfect.
keep waiting for other towns to like.
Oh, and
ask if
say,
they can
"Hey,
come."
how are you doing
And we'll
this?"
say no. Give us some wastewater. Maybe then you can have. Yeah.
Royalties, meet royalties.
Okay, thank you very much, Sam. Next is approved purchase of blades for plows.
So let's make a motion to approve.
I love
purchase
this.
of Blades
It is.
for trucks in the amount of $39,188.
39,000.
I don't know.
Nice.
Okay,
Wait,
9,000,
hold on,
but
that's the antenna.
yeah. It's like 9,000.
I'd like to.
I have a question though.
Hold on, I gotta make a motion and make a motion to approve.
Wait a minute, just because this is just a funny thing. Why is it shipping to Adam McGee?
Oh, they just haven't corrected that.
I know, I thought that, should be.
Yeah, I think Jacob has corrected it numerous times, but they keep it there.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the purchase of blades for the plows in the amount of $9,512.10. I'd like that, those blades to be shipped to Jacob Johnson at the Jericho.
I second that.
Excellent.
Amy seconded it. I'm sure we need these blades.
Well, let's bring Jacob in. Let's bring Jacob in and have him explain our need for blades. Okay,
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I
Motion passes.
I was like,
First thing I saw was this. I'm like, oh god.
I laugh every time I put it in.
Oh, she's allowed to. Oh, okay.
Peter's gonna love it. Okay,
All right, where are we? So
the tobacco and second class liquor license.
I have a question about this.
Oh, I don't
When I was
know.
first on the board, Wayne kind of kept bringing up that eventually Jericho would be required to make a decision about cannabis or not.
Uh-huh.
We never did, right?
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
So is it allowed to be sold in Jericho?
No.
Right? We
You have to, the
we
state
have to
has a
approve-
permit.
We have to approve it to
the
allow.
default is you can't do it, I think.
That's what I
Right,
think too.
right.
But I wanted to know if you guys think that.
They're not. Or is there?
They're not.
Yeah.
Okay.
But some of it sounds like.
I love it.
Uh,
Okay,
so I'd make a motion to approve the second class liquor license of Agents Vermont Incorporated, DBA Jericho Market. For and also approve tobacco license for ADS Vermont Incorporated, DBA Jericho Market.
I'll second that.
Peter made the motion, Catherine seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Do they sell tobacco?
They do stuff.
Oh, I need a picture of something. Where is it?
I think all tobacco you have to ask for.
Behind
I think you have to ask, right?
See it, yeah.
Where it is.
I don't know.
it's like not at the checkout lanes, but at like that manager's counter by the
You go buy
takeaway place
lottery
where you buy lottery tickets, I think.
Yeah.
I don't go there. I mean, to that counter.
I only did when the Powerball was like, I was gonna give most of it to the
You
town.
can skip the line, you can just go right there, like I do.
Yeah.
Get line, go right there.
Skip the line.
Update from the, next on the agenda is update from the Wastewater Taskforce. You wanna do that, Peter?
and then you want to sign those?
Sure, Wastewater Taskforce met yesterday and we got the 60%?
Mhm.
30?
Yeah,
60% PER report. Preliminary engineering report. They gave us three or four scenarios, and we spent a lot of time, had a really good, rich conversation with us, each all talking over each other, and no one had a chance to talk because we were so
Excited.
thoughtful about it and excited about it. And we are sort of moving into the stage of beginning to think about where would we want to do this? Who are those landowners? How do we reach out to them to talk about the whole process? And asking Du Bois and King to begin to help us think about how to phase the whole thing and not just drop the whole thing in, but do it in chunks so we can build it up over time. To be fiscally responsible about it. And one of the things we're discussing is how to balance how much sort of gallons per day in terms of wastewater service, how to balance setting some aside for new growth and setting them aside for people who may have failing systems or may want to tie, who already have systems but want to tie in. And Justin Willis knows a lot about all the different dirts in Jericho.
Well, he sure does.
And the task force is looking to come to this select board meeting on February 5th, and there's a lot more we want to have a chance to have, like Peter said, that conversation was, we just got the 60%, right? So it's a lot to digest. It's a lot of technical stuff that not all of us on the thing are technical. So anyway, long story short, we're going to try to meet again as a group so that we have a really good presentation to bring to this select board and talk about what options we have. It looks like we have some opportunity at this point in the PER process to direct what happens between the 60 and the 90. So there's some things we can say to D and K, like Peter said, hey, we're interested in the phasing thing. We're interested in
Yeah.
this, we're interested in that.
It sounded
Have
like they
that
kind of
spend-
spelled it out for you, right? Like, here's like this amount for
Yeah.
this big
Yeah.
and this amount for,
This leach
each
scale will
little
be this much.
yeah,
and
yeah,
That one will
yeah.
be this. You put them
Mhm.
together, you can do this and that.
Right,
and
right.
Begin to
Yeah.
kind of put the
Mhm.
pieces of the puzzle together to see what's
Yeah.
viable.
Yeah.
I think that when we come on the 5th, the question of what do we want, how do we want to direct D and K, that's gonna come from the select board. So the wastewater committee will say, hey, we think this is the next thing to do. Select board, will you please officially tell Du Bois and King, please target your 90% to this.
To that
these kind of
direction.
questions
Yeah,
and
yeah,
this
yeah,
information.
yeah, yeah.
Yes. Okay. That brings, any questions on that?
Nope.
Next is select board updates. I'll go to my left. Peter, we got any?
No.
Laura? Amy?
Nope.
Catherine?
As you can see, there is a new show up in the room, and there's not only in the hallway but also upstairs. These are more than 40 MMU students that are part of the art program there, and this is their creativity and use of various different mediums. And then on Saturday, from 10 to noon, we will have a reception for the students. And we will also have music, because it looks like one of the little jazz groups that form from the musicians will be able to play. So that's very cool to also support some student musicians, not just the student artists. And this show will remain up through February, so people who cannot make the reception will be able to see what the students' work is between now, during regular town hall hours. So we're very excited that we were able to work with the school again and support the artists in the school.
I love it.
That's
Thank you
great.
for doing that.
I do have one update. Sorry, Amy. Sorry.
You already said no.
I went to the Underhill-Jericho Food Hub dinner last night at the high school, and it was packed.
Really?
That's
It was packed, like you had trouble finding the seat. And all the farmers were there, and there was
That's
a
pretty
raffle,
cool.
and there was a high school, like a rock band, like not the jazz band, but like 5 kids who had a rock band were there playing, and it
That's
was
pretty cool.
awesome, really, really fun.
That's cool.
It is pretty cool.
Updates from you?
No,
Do we need an ES tonight?
I don't think so.
Wow. 8:33.
Just got to do the minutes.
I have one update to the minutes if we're done with updates.
We are. Next on the agenda is approve the warrants, which those of us that are here in the room have done.
I come back this week. I'll come in and sign them, Paula.
And now we can go to the minutes. We've got a bunch here.
Yes.
Yeah, line 187 says we adjourned at 2:26.
Which meeting?
Oh, sorry. You know what? That
December
may be-
4th.
Yeah, December 4. That's it.
December 4th.
Yeah, I looked at that, went, boy, that's kind of funny. You started at 6:30 and you ran till
Yep.
2:30. That was some meeting.
I think it was 7:26 is when we adjourned.
7:26. On December 4th, line 187.
Yep.
Okay, and so you said 7:26?
I think it would have been 7:26. It was a short meeting. So
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Anything else?
not that I found.
No, sorry.
On any other minutes?
All the minutes I read, I found nothing.
Okay.
I read 3 of them.
I didn't either.
Okay.
How about one big motion? Go.
I hope I have the right ones. I have the one, well, I'm not confident. Which ones do you need?
December 4th, December 9th, December 18th, and December 18th on the joint meeting.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as presented for December 4th,
9th,
December 9th, December
18th.
18th.
Wait a minute. December 4th has, with corrections as noted.
Yep.
With corrections as noted, December 4th, December 9th, December 18th, and the joint meeting on December 18th as well.
I'll second.
Peter motion, Catherine seconded. All those in favor of approving the minutes, all of those minutes, say aye.
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 And we don't have an executive
So we
session.
have 2 meetings.
We did.
Oh, we did, that's right. Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Sorry, okay, yeah.
You were the most changed.
Yeah, a lot of motions, a lot of work. And with that,
That's all she wrote.
motion to adjourn.
Make a
Thank
motion to
you.
adjourn.
Peter motion.
Good night, everyone.
36.
Good night.
And.
Good night, everybody.
Seconded the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Night, guys.
Night.
Bye.
Recording done?